Clayton, I would like to know what's arriving when First Group or Veolia arrive in a town. What's the way to earn some profits for them?
Well, of course, that's what strikes us as strange, that any city that's approached by a private company would believe that or expect that that a private company would be able to provide this cheaper. Because after all, the private company expects to achieve approximately 10% profits on a contract where the nonprofit, the public sector system, doesn't need to have any profits. Plus, there is an added cost to the city of perhaps 1, perhaps 2, perhaps 5% in supervising this contract. They have to make sure that Veolia is really delivering the service that it promised to deliver under its contract. So you have these two added costs that are new to the system: 10% for profit and some unspecified amount for the public agency, the city, to supervise the private company and make sure it's carrying its end of the bargain. If they're going to continue to provide the service for the same cost or less than the nonprofit system did before, they're going to have to take that out of the operating cost somewhere else. They can't take it out of the price of the buses, because the Veolia can't get buses any cheaper than the city can. They can't take it out of gasoline, because the city can buy gasoline just as cheap as Veolia can. The main place they can take it out of is labor costs. That's, in operating a bus, that's about 50% of your costs of executing a contract is the labor costs, wages, benefits, pension, healthcare, all that, all those things.
That's why they prefer cut about labor costs like wages and welfare system.
It's absolutely necessary for them to cut it if they're going to continue to deliver the service at a price that they promised to the city, while also obtaining a profit for their shareholders.
And have you heard about any disputes between the cities and Veolia or First Group?
There are repeated situations where cities are unhappy with the service that they're provided by First Group, by Veolia, or another contractor. In the typical situation, the company will, or the city will wind up canceling one contract and putting it back out for bid and inviting other people to come in and bid. This just is a musical chairs of different for-profit companies coming back and forth. We did have an unusual situation, however, in one of our Canadian local unions in Ottawa, where the public transit system had, many years in the past, contracted out its service for the handicapped out to First Group, or actually to its predecessor, Laidlaw, which was later bought by First Group. There were so many. The union was very careful in watching and supervising the way this company executed its contract, and pointed out all the ways that they were coming up short. Worked with the handicapped groups who were dissatisfied with the service they were getting, and did their own accounting study and came to the city and said, under these terms, they negotiated a contract and said, we are prepared to work with the city to deliver this service for the same price that First Group is delivering it, but at better quality. And they convinced the city, and now that system is back in the public sector.
And about labor relations between managers and workers, is there any disputes or problems for a union to be recognized or to work as a union, as inside Veolia or First Group?
Veolia and First Group, companies in the United States and in many Canadian provinces have a system of labor relations where they recognize one union as the exclusive union, if that union can prove that it has the support of a majority of the workers. Now, a company that wants to have a good relationship with its workers will usually voluntarily recognize if 50%, if a majority of the workers show up and sign a petition or sign cards showing that they are a majority. A company that does not want to deal with a union will try to dissuade the workers, will try to convince the workers not to sign cards, and will insist on holding an election, and will take several months trying to persuade the workers not to join. Veolia falls somewhere in the middle. Veolia once in a while will recognize the union voluntarily. Usually they insist on an election. They don't, while we have some companies in the United States that routinely break the law by firing workers who want to organize, we don't see that from Veolia very much. They're a little bit more respectful in that fashion.
And I would like to know, in US, does it exist a sort of workers' council, especially for Veolia Group, or you can, or you don't have this kind of council?
We don't have a formal works council as you would in Europe, in most European countries. We have within our union regular meetings between the different local chapters that represent workers at Veolia, and they will get together and consult, but there's no master contract and there's no formal works council established by law. And
in the past year, is there any unionist be fired because union activism or union activities in Veolia or First Group?
There are, I cannot think of any such situations in the case of Veolia. In the case of First, we have had some cases where we are going before the U.S. Labor Board asking them to investigate because workers were fired who were supporting the union.
Thank you very much.